Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of the Network Analysis series in ArcGIS Pro, where we'll be diving into the closest facility problem analysis. Make sure to like this video and subscribe for more GIS tutorials. I'm also working on an upcoming series covering GIS programming and Python for GIS, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss any updates. Let's get started.
So we saw how to create your network dataset, and then if you go to your analysis, we have a network analysis, right? In here we saw our routing problem here yesterday, right? So today we'll see into closest facility. Okay. All right. So when we click on our closest facility, what it does is create a closest facility layer, right? And what does it have? It has the facilities. We have incidents, we have routes, and then like we saw yesterday, we have different point barriers, line barriers, and polygon barriers. All right. So the thing here is like closest facility. So what does closest facility do? It creates or it finds the closest facility which is uh, closer to an incident. Okay. So some kind of incident is happening, and you have different facilities. So what this layer creates is it actually finds the nearest facility to your incident and then actually creates the routes for it. Okay, so that's what closest facility does. Okay, and to do that, just select on closest facility and we have your closest facility layer in our ribbons layer. Okay, click on that. We have the same kind of options open up. Okay, now to add data to your facilities and incidents layer, you could either import your data, right? So if you have specific shape files or feature class as points, right? So of your facilities and incidents, you could just click on import facilities and then select your point feature class of your facilities and then just click apply and those will be added to your facilities. Similarly, if you have a shapefile or feature class of your incidents, right? So wherever some kind of incidents happen, you could just import them in here, right? Import the data in here and then we'll just click OK and then all those facility incidents will be added to your network. Okay, so you have facilities and incidents. Okay, or you could just directly digitize on it. Okay, so I'll be creating my features here. Okay, for example, if I have yeah, so the facilities will be hospitals in my case. Okay, so I have these many facilities available in my area. All right, so all these are my facilities. So I'll just yeah, and then I have some incidents happening. So I have an incident happen here and I have an incident happening here. All right, and I'll just save it resolution. Now let me just yeah. So I could just imagine that my facilities are hospitals. Okay, so my facilities are hospitals, and the incident that might have happened could be an accident, right? So it could be a vehicle crash or any kind of accident. It could be. So it could be a traffic accident. Okay, so I have two traffic accidents happening in these two areas, right? And then I have these many hospitals available in my network dataset or in my area. I have also locations of my hospitals, and then I have two different crashes or vehicle crashes happening here. All right. So what I need to do is I need to find out the nearest facility from these two crashes, right? So I have these two incidents happening. So I need to find out the nearest facility to my so from my incident, I have to find the nearest facility. Okay, so we'll go over to our closest facility layer, right? And now, what direction will it be? So, if the your traveling direction is it right? So this thing is the traveling direction. Okay, so the case here that I'm looking at is from. So we have incidents here, some kind of vehicle crash, and we have hospitals. So we'll be traveling from the vehicle crash site to the hospital, right? So it could be ambulance. So ambulance should be traveling from the vehicle crash site to the hospitals, nearest hospital. So direction should be, in this case, towards the facilities, right? So coming from the incident towards the facilities. So the direction should be toward the facilities here. All right. And then another thing is like you'll have to also choose the uh, cost, right? So in this case, so I'm transporting my patients, right? So vehicle crash victims from the crash site, so in incident site to the hospital. So we are not looking for distance here, right? So we are looking for the least time taken path, right? So we need to reach the hospital as soon as we can without losing any time. We need to actually reach the hospital. Though, so the driving cost should be time in here, right? So we need to reach the hospital as fast as we can. So we'll be setting my impedance as cost impedance as minutes, right? So I'll be looking at my time, okay? And now, so that is the direction and the travel cost, all right? Another function or another thing that you could change is the number of facilities, right? So if I only want to find out the nearest facility, only one facility I can set this one, okay? So if I want to find out the best two facilities from my incident, okay? So it will actually create routes from your incident to actually two of the hospitals, right? And then it will be giving a rank also, right? Which should be the nearest one and which should be the second nearest one. Okay, so I can set it as the number of facilities can be two. Okay, and if I have set that, I can just run it over here. So it has actually solved it, right? So the route will be saved in your routes layer, right? So if you check out your attribute table of the routes layer, you can see that there are four routes created, right? So the first route has the facility rank 1, right, of incident. So we have facility ID is 9, incident ID is 1. So from the first incident, right? So the first incident, this route will be taking you to the ninth facility, right? So on the basis of your creation, this route will be taking you from the first incident to the ninth facility, and it has the facility rank 1, which means this is the closest facility from this incident area. Okay, so from this incident location, this route creates the route is created to the closest facility. So this is the first closest facility. Okay, and there's then another route. This is also created the second route. Right? So the second route is like it takes from incident ID 1 to the sixth facility ID, and then it has the facility rank of 2. Okay, which means this one takes much more time, right? So if you go over here, we have the time taken in total minutes and the total length. Okay, even though the distance might be lesser in the second route, the time taken is higher, right? So on the first time it only takes 3.57 minutes to reach from incident to your hospital. The second route it actually takes 3.686 minutes to reach from the incident to the hospital. Similarly, we have another route created from a second incident to the hospital. Okay, so this one is the incident ID is 2. So from the second incident, it takes you to the sixth facility, and then it has the facility rank 1, which means this route takes the shortest time, right? And then the time taken is 7 minutes. If you check out the second route, it actually takes 8.78 minutes to travel from your crash site or your incident to the nearest second nearest hospital, and then that's why it has the facility rank of 2. Okay. Now imagine if these facilities are fire stations. Okay. So we have fire stations here. So these facilities are fire stations, and the incident that has happened, it could be some fire accident. Okay. So, a fire accident has happened. Okay. So a fire accident has happened in these two locations. Okay. So we have two locations. One over here, and then one over here, and then a fire accident has occurred. Okay. Now, what we need to do, what route do we need to find here? So we have to find out the routes that takes the fire station or fire trucks from the fire station to the incident, right? So if some fire incident has broken out here, so which means the fireman has to actually travel from this fire station to the incident area, right? So what might be the direction here? In here, the direction will be away from facilities, right? So we are traveling, the firemen are traveling away from the facilities towards the incident. Okay, so direction will be away from the facilities. And then if you need like two fire trucks to be reached from the nearest facility to the fire, you can set it as facilities as two. And then in this case also, the cost could be the time, right? So they are not trying to shorten the distance travel. They are only trying to reach the incident as fast as they can. So the cost attribute or the impedance will be setting is same as the last time, that is time. Okay. So we need to actually find out the lesser time taken route. Okay. And now if we click on run, it could be changing or it could be the same. Yeah, it's the same. Okay. So what might be the difference on when we are keeping this direction away and towards facilities? Right? Do you have any guesses on what might be the difference here? Like how might the route may be different depending on away and towards the facilities? Do you have any idea about that? Any guesses?
No, sir.
Yeah. So like you know that some roads may be one way, right? So on in one direction, it only allows the vehicles going from one direction, right? So there may be other route for vehicles traveling in the opposite direction. Okay. So in any cases, there might be one-way roads. Okay. So the away from facilities route might not always be the same as towards facility roads. In the case of one-way roads, so in a street there might be so many one-way roads, so that the route might not be the same as away and towards facilities. So sometimes the away from facility might be different route as towards facilities. So in both cases also we will need to find out what the shortest time taken path or the shortest distance traveled path, right? But then we need to actually find out the route to the facility, right? So we need to find out the route to the facility or towards the incident based on what our use case is. Okay, so that is how we can actually create our process facility. And then same as yesterday, we can actually do our restrictions also, right? So if in case this road was blocked off, okay, and there's a point restriction on this road, and if something like a whole area has been cut off, you know what, this whole street or this whole residential area has been cut off. So that's been cut off, right? So there's a line restriction here. There's a point restriction there, and then a whole volume restriction there. So even in those cases, we'll need to actually find out the route. Okay. So whenever there's a obstruction on the road, whenever there's a rerouting problem, or whenever there's a whole area has been sealed off, you still need to find out the route. So in those cases, you can actually set these kinds of restrictions. Okay, whether it be point restriction, line restriction, or polygon restriction, you can set this kind of restriction. So if that is said, the network will actually try to reroute. Okay, so it will actually try to reroute from your facility to your location. So if you check out the routes now, you have the first route. It actually takes this incident from this area. So this is the first, right? So the incident facility rank is 1. So this is the shortest time taken route. And the second route is like this. Okay. And to the third facility, it goes like this. But the fourth facility, it was much more uh, time taking to actually travel to this uh, uh, facility, right? Because you know these are smaller roads, so there might be a limit on the speed limit, right? But that this one looks more like a highway. So so the fire truck or ambulance, so whatever the facility vehicle could be, it could travel faster on this route. So that is why the network actually decided to discard this facility and then reroute it to this facility as its closest facility layer. Okay, so this is how you can do your closest facility analysis.